31 May. Dearest Suzie, these last 3 days have sure been long ones for me. We haven't done a thing. Today is a holiday and everybody is supposed to be off, but we are all about to go crazy, so we are going to go out to the range this afternoon just to have something to do. I was hoping to get those shirts in the mail today, but they weren't ready last night. I'm going down and checking on them again tonight. Maybe I can get them off tomorrow to you. Yesterday, we made Charlie airborne qualified. We put a little parachute on him and jumped him from the airfield tower. He did very well. If my pictures turn out of the event, I will send them to you. I'll bet there were 200 people out there taking pictures of the jump. Things are real quiet down here right now. That is the way it is. Quiet for a while, and then all hell breaks loose. I wouldn't care if it stays quiet for the next 116 days, though. If you will notice, there is quite an increase in our check this month. That is because they didn't take out income tax. That makes my pay for the past month over $500, which isn't bad. That's counting our bond. Well, I will close for now. Sending you all my love. I will do my best to call you on the 6th. Hug the boys for me. All my love. Bill. Popi writes this letter on May 31st, 1965, during what he calls a string of long days, quiet, dull, and mostly uneventful. It's Memorial Day, and while everyone's technically off duty, the boredom seems to be wearing them down. The only thing to do is head for the range for something, anything to fill the time. He mentions the shirts he had made, hoping to get them in the mail, but they weren't ready. He'll check again, maybe tomorrow. And it's in that small detail, waiting on a tailor, planning a shipment, worrying about postage, that we see a side of the war we don't talk about that much. The enormous, grinding machine that kept Vietnam supplied. By 1965, Vietnam had become one of the most logistically complex operations in American military history. Tens of thousands of troops, vehicles, rations, weapons, and even crates of Coca-Cola were shipped halfway around the world to feed, clothe, arm, and transport an ever-growing force. Every helicopter part, every can of condensed milk, every reel of film in Popi's camera had to come from somewhere and get there on time. The mail was just one part of it, but it mattered deeply. Letters were a lifeline. Packages from home could lift the whole unit's mood, and something like a set of custom shirts, airmailed with a white knight stitched into the pocket, was more than just fabric. It was identity. It was family. It was proof that even in a war zone you could still send a piece of yourself home and hope something came back. For the soldiers on the ground, the supply chain could feel both miraculous and maddening. You might get a hot meal and new boots one day, then wait 2 weeks for basic maintenance parts or fresh socks. Helicopters broke down in the jungle, radios went quiet, and mosquito repellent became a rare luxury. For every soldier like Popi writing home about pay bumps and packages, there were teams of quartermasters, logisticians, and local workers moving heaven and earth to keep the system going, often operating in near-invisible roles. Ships departed from Oakland, San Francisco, and Norfolk, and arrived at ports like Cam Ranh Bay, where their cargo was unloaded, sorted, and moved by truck or helicopter to bases like Vinh Long. But in a country crisscrossed with rivers, landmines, and ambush points, nothing ever moved quickly. Getting anything from Saigon to the Delta could take days, sometimes weeks. Even mail, something so simple, so personal, was routed through a network of APO addresses, military sorters, and overloaded flights. There was no Amazon Prime. There wasn't even a guarantee. But when something did make it through, like a letter from Suzie, a school paper from Billy, or eventually these embroidered shirts, it was a small victory over distance. Logistics didn't keep the war going, it kept relationships alive. It was one of the only ways Popi could maintain his role as a father and husband, even while deployed. So, when he jokes about using airmail again, even though he swore he wouldn't, there's something tender beneath the line. He knows it's worth the extra postage to get home a little faster. The most important part of this letter, though, may be Popi's mention of Charlie becoming airborne qualified. When I was growing up, I was always told about Popi's, quote, flight-trained monkey. Between you and me, I honestly thought it was just something adults told kids about their grandfather to make him seem interesting. Almost like an urban legend. Or maybe it was something they really believed that didn't actually happen. The photo I chose for today depicts Charlie mid-parachute flight. It is blurry, but if you look closely, you can see the little guy midair. It wasn't until I got his slides and looked through them all carefully that I realized that Charlie was, in fact, parachute qualified. At least they put a small parachute on him and dropped him from a tower, and he fell safely to the ground. Once again, this is such a human thing for Popi to do. It is exactly what a 28-year-old man with a monkey and too much time on his hands should do. I'm Alex Lowy, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to this episode of Dearest Suzie, and receiving messages from the past that my Popi wrote exactly 60 years ago. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. Please consider following the podcast on your preferred platform, and if you're enjoying it, I kindly ask that you take the time to rate the show and leave a review. Also, please follow the project on YouTube, X, and Instagram. All likes, comments, shares, and reviews will help grow the reach of this story. The links for these things should be in the description of this episode. Please feel free to email me at dearestsuziepodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like to say. I'd love to chat or to hear about your stories as well. Thank you for listening, and God bless.